If you are interested in going to the Philippines and maybe you're thinking about getting a bank account, you can open one up here in the States. It was like, really? It's this easy? The whole time I've been, watching vlogs and people are talking about how hard it is to open an account there. So I found it really cool that it didn't take much just to open the bank account.
And then our cards are going to come to us in the U.S.
Oh yeah, our cards are going to come here. We've never been to this bank, never had a Filipino bank account, so we'll have to go and see what they say if they let us open an account. So,
do you have two forms of ID?
I do have 2 forms of ID. Do you?
I do.
All right, well then we'll try.
Let's try it.
Let's try.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back today. Today we have a very specific topic in preparation for traveling, not necessarily to Philippines, but in Asia.
Okay, so today we wanted to talk about the banking situation and how we got a bank account in the Philippines before we even went to the Philippines. So from the United States, how we got a bank account while we were living in the United States.
That is correct. And so many of you probably think that, hey, you know what? I am not a citizen in that country, therefore I can't get a bank account. Wrong! Absolutely wrong, because you can.
Okay, we got our checking accounts. No, we got our savings accounts. Woohoo!
It is December 2022, and what's interesting is here in the United States, you no longer have to wear your masks. But when we went to the Philippine National Bank, their policy is for everyone to still wear a mask inside the facility.
Yeah, and then we had to fill out a few forms. It was maybe 5 forms that we had to fill out. They weren't that hard to fill out. You have to know which branch you want to open it up at, so that was kind of confusing. So we had to find our barangay and the closest branch. And then it wasn't that hard. We just had 2 forms of ID and we opened our bank account. So we're pretty excited. How was it for you, Himiko?
Good.
Yeah.
But they only have 2 flavors of lollipop.
They only have 2 lollipop flavors. What flavor did you get?
Watermelon.
So here's the thing. We actually went to go and get this bank account on a whim. We were traveling down south. We knew that we were going to pass through LA. And in Philippines, if you want a Filipino bank account, when you're in the Philippines, they require you to have 2 forms of ID. And they don't always give you the account right away. You have to prove to them that you're in the area, or it's a big hassle once you're there to try and open an account. And I think you tried to open an account when we were there in 2018.
I did. So I was there in 2018 and I requested to open a bank account. I think I went to BDO, and when I went to the office, they were like, okay, well, you need 2 forms of ID, you need this, and this, and you need to have 1 million or 500,000 pesos to open up a bank. And I was like, what? I'm just here on vacation. I'm going to be here for a month. I can't just, open one up so that way I don't have to walk around with all this money. And they're like, yeah, you need to have 500,000 peso, actually not peso, peso. And I was like, no, I don't even have that much,
So we gave up on trying to get an account back when we were in the Philippines.
That's right.
And so we were toying with the idea again. This last year in 2022 is when we started to think about getting a bank account. Now we looked online, and the closest bank to us is Philippine National Bank, which is located over in LA, in the same place where they have the immigration for getting your passport or your dual citizenship. It's all in the same kind of complex. So we showed up. We didn't
know. We were just gonna show up and be like, okay, let's learn the process.
Yeah, we were just doing some research, you know?
Yes.
So when we showed up, they told us that we needed 2 forms of ID. And at that time, we had our military ID and we also had our driver's license. And those were they sufficed for the ID. And then they also said we needed to know the exact branch that we wanted to open our account. So in the Philippines, you have to know which branch, like down to like the city and the street and the location, the building.
Yes, so before you go, I would highly encourage you to pick out the city that you're going to go to. They have a few in Cebu, Manila, you know, they have, like, it doesn't matter, like, just look it up online so that when you go to LA, you already have an idea of where you want to open up this bank account because it's very specific. You're opening up a bank account in that branch.
Right.
Right. And that's another thing too is that, oh, you're opening it up here, but it's not the Philippine National Bank here in the United States. They don't have that branch here. They'll open a branch for you in Philippines, so that way you can have access to it when you get there.
Now here's the thing: when you're opening your branch, you're opening your account for Filipino peso.
But there also is another one for dollar. You can also open up a bank account in dollar currency.
Right. And so we chose the peso currency because we were trying to figure out, like, how do we get around paying all those fees for transferring our money from the United States to the Philippines.
Right.
And so
Right.
that's been like our biggest issue, is trying to figure out how to save money with the remittance fee.
Right, because everywhere we look, and I've done it before in vacation, you go there, you take your whatever currency you have, you go to the money exchange at the airport or the money exchange nearby, and they're taking, like, you know, a lot of money off the top. You know, they're not exchanging your funds based off the current rate that day. They're just exchanging your funds, and they're saying, hey, this is the rate we have, take it or leave it. And that's not
Right.
necessarily a good thing. So I've done all kinds of research. What's the possible way? What's the best way to do it? You know what I mean? From which bank account here in the United States? You know, is it better to go to Bank of America? Is it better to go to a federal credit union bank? Or, you know, we found this new one, Charles Schwab, but that's another topic on its own.
Yeah. Okay, so then what we ended up doing is we filled out all the paperwork. Now, to open this bank account, it took us at least 2 hours. I'll tell you, the branch in the Philippine National Bank, that branch has such a small little area, and I'll make sure to add it into our video, some of the clips
Yes,
from that
yes.
place. But it's such a small space. There's a long waiting line, and so make sure if you are going to go to that branch that you have a lot of time. And basically, I mean, that's going to be the culture of the Philippines anyway, is like, you take it slow, take it easy, and be patient.
Yeah, so if you can pre-fill out documentation, which they have online, go ahead and do that. Or they can have the documentation there. I would encourage you to fill it up online.
Gonna go over the forms with you. So we found this all online. Just Google Philippine National Bank. And one of the things we found was the table of service and maintenance fees as of November 1 of 2021. So this is the latest that we could find on the internet. And it kind of breaks down for you, you know, for each account, the type of deposit, how much you have to have in there, the dormant period, the fees associated with it being dormant, and also it talks about like how, for CDs and stuff. So it kind of like breaks it down for you. And this was a form that we filled out. You can get it online. I think I already said that, but that's fine. So this form here, it's the customer information form, and you really don't want to leave anything blank. I used my permanent residence in the United States when I was filling this out, And I didn't put anything about Philippines in there at all. I just put all my general information. And they do want you to fill out every single line. And then there's this signature card. You sign three times. I'll try to do the same signature all 3 times. And then over here, you're going to say whether you want to use Filipino, peso, or US dollar, the type of currency, or what kind of bank account you're opening. And this is where the account number I didn't know, but they told us the account name, which was like the branch that we were going to open our bank at with. And if you're not sure which branch, at least have like a general area, maybe look on a map or something. And then the lady was really nice, and she helped us kind of like pinpoint the closest one to where we live for our barangay. And then here's where it talks about like if you want your statements, how you want them sent. We want them sent electronically, so that way we're not dealing with the mail in the future. And so that one was filled out. These are all just kind of like instructions. A lot of information here for the terms and just like key terms basically, and it's telling you what the definitions are for different terms. This was a form we filled out, and it says consent on authorization for U.S. person under the foreign account tax compliance. So we filled that out. We had to put our social security number on there and our home address. And so I guess this is for like tax purposes. We did fill out a W-9. And I do remember seeing on that first form where it says U.S. FATCA. Are you a U.S. person? And if you are, then please fill out the consent and authorization forms for U.S. persons under the FATCA. So you had to do this form if you're a U.S. person, and you also had to do the W-9 form. And this looks like a tax form that I've filled out in the past, so it's similar in that manner. It's basically, it says request for taxpayer identification number and certification. So you're putting your social security number in there, and you're signing it, and they're submitting that as well. Okay. Let me tell you what the form numbers are. So this one was a W-9. This customer information form doesn't seem to have a form number on it. This National Philippines Bank form, at the bottom it says NA004 Alpha.1. And this form, the signature card form, it says number 05-0034. And that's pretty much it with the forms. Hope that's helpful.
Even though here in the United States, nobody is wearing masks anymore. When we went, they were still like, hey,
masks.
You got to wear a mask when you come in here and all that stuff. And the thing is, like, right out the door, there is a ticket pull, just like a ticket pull when you go to a regular barber shop. You know what I mean? Like a busy barber shop. You pull the ticket and
They asked us what branch we were opening our bank account in, and that's where we like looked at each other. We're like, I don't know. And so we were like, maybe we just open up a bank account in Manila. And then they were like, there's hundreds of banks in Manila, like branches. You need to know which branch. So then we were like, okay, well, maybe we'll just open one up in the barangay we're at. So,
well, I actually the lady was like, okay, where are you guys planning to move? What province, are you guys planning to move to? and we're like, oh, near Baguio, that's where we're gonna be moving to. It's like, oh, okay. And they're like, okay, there's this one close by, that one close by, and this one close by. And so we picked the closest one to the province that we were gonna stay at, and yeah, that was it.
There was like 3 forms we filled out. You had to fill it out as completely as possible. And we had to give 2 checks. So he and I both opened up an account each.
Yes.
And we each had to give 2 checks for $200. We had to write like checks, and they required that we wrote a $250 check to start our account. And let me see. So we wrote the checks out. We showed them our 2 ID cards. We picked the proper branch for our location. And then they said they were going to mail it off, or they're going to send it to that bank, and they're going to open our bank account in the Philippines at that branch. So right off the bat, just to open an account, you need $200 in a check.
In a check, that is correct. And the thing is, I didn't have a check of my own, so it was only Dee that brought her own, like her checkbook. So she wrote me a check for $200, and she wrote herself a check for $200. So, but I mean, this is very convenient. It is so easy and simple, but there is a catch.
There's a lot of caveats with this, actually. There's a lot, so you should really stay tuned.
Yes.
Okay, so when we filled it out, okay, it seems like everything is good. We're going to get the information back. We're supposed to be waiting in the mail for confirmation. So basically, they are sending the information off, and in about... Now, it's been about a week since we did it, and I still haven't seen my check clear, so I'm still waiting to see what's going to happen. But it seems like we're going to have our bank there, and it seems like it's going to work out.
There was 4 options. One was like a passbook, which you can take with you at the bank in PI. And then another one was an ATM, which you can pretty much use anywhere else. I'm curious at how much it's gonna cost us for like international. So let's say I get my bank account. Let's say I get my bank card or my ATM card here. I wonder what the fees are internationally, because the bank is in Philippines and I would be using it for an ATM. I wonder if there is any ATM fees. Well, there is gonna be an ATM fee, but I'm sure there's I'm curious as to what other fees are included, because it's essentially an international transaction. The second thing is that going there, I was really hoping for a higher rate of insurance. So here in the United States, right, the government will cover $250,000 of insure. They'll insure your deposit,
yeah.
Like your bank, whatever. If you have $250,000 in the bank, then they can cover that. In Philippines, it's only $10,000, right? So they won't insure more than $10,000. So
it's still the same.
And I was really hoping that the branch would be here in LA, so that way we can just directly, we can still be covered $250,000. Unfortunately, it's not. The branch that we opened is actually a branch in Philippines, not here in the US.
And it's not like we have $2,500, like
$250,000.
whatever. We don't have that kind of money, so I don't know. But I guess he's looking to have the same kind of like protection like they do in the United States. Although nobody's sitting with that much money in their bank account.
No, definitely not. But it's just for whatever issues that happen. I think they cover it.
A month or two.
2 months.
Was it 2 months? We got something in the mail that said our account was established. Cool.
Was it in an email or snail mail?
It was snail mail. It was like the post office mail. Okay. So then we had these papers, but that was all we had. And so we weren't sure like what the next step was, but since we were going back that way to LA, we stopped at the bank And it turns out that our debit cards were sent to the bank.
Yes, the debit.
So
cards
we
were
had
sent the bank.
to, but it was just by chance because we were like, well, let's try to put some money in this thing. And so we went down there and also because I was trying to set up the application on my mobile phone, I was trying to figure it out and I didn't know how to do it. Well, when I got to the branch, it turns out I could have had access to my mobile app long before I went to the branch. But it was a good thing that we went to the branch because we picked up our
debit cards.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, when we picked up the debit card, it was going to take 2 more weeks before we could try to see if the debit card worked because they had to send back correspondence to them saying that we picked up our cards, so to activate the card.
Yes.
Okay, so we had some questions that we brought to the branch, and maybe these questions might be the same that you might have. So go ahead.
Yeah. So the account that we opened up, you need to have a few things, right? So one question that I had in mind is like, what's the minimum balance do you need to have in your savings account? So the minimum balance, what I was told, is 3,000 pesos, which is equivalent, depending on the exchange rate, which is $60 to $70, right?
That's 60 to 70 US
60 to
dollars.
70 US dollars, but it's 3,000 pesos, right? Something else too is there has to be movement in your bank, either a deposit or bank transfer or withdrawal.
He's talking about dormancy.
Yeah, I'm talking about dormancy. So you can't just open up a bank account and then expect that it's going to be there. No, they'll close it down if your bank account does not have any type of movement. So they don't. When you fill out the documentation, make sure that you fill out and double check that your address is correct and your email is also correct. That's key, right? So because that's going to be how the communication is. Number 2, the stuff that you get in the mail, like Dee said, you can already use that to look at your check. I mean your bank account. And number 3, the bank account is not a checking account. It's actually a savings account. You can select either a debit card, or in Philippines they have what is called a passbook. Now the passbook is basically an identification book which you can take into the branch in Philippines and say, hey, I have this is who I am, I'd like to pull out money. We chose to go with the ATM route, the debit card route. We wanted a debit card. So that way we can have access to it whenever we want. I'm sure, everyone is thinking about this, is like, okay, how do I know that my money is there? That's why we were having like, oh no,
so
how do we know?
That's why we wouldn't see. That's why I wouldn't do anything online. I didn't, because I don't trust the internet, and so I was like, we need to go down to that bank. We need to make sure that we can that we have our access codes, that it's real, it's legit, because I mean anything could be sent to you in the mail. And so here's the crazy part, right? So we open up our mail and we find that there was a carrier fee, okay, of $100 US.
Yes.
It was $100 just for the courier, which is insane. That means we paid $200 in just shipping fees.
Yes.
Which I felt was like bogus.
But I would tell you this, right? The convenience.
It's very convenient.
The convenience that we were able to open up a savings account here in the US. That's one. Number 2, have the ability to actually pick up the debit card already, right?
Yeah, so we come in with it on hand.
And then number 3, we tested the debit card and it works.
At the ATM right here in town.
In town.
But here's the other thing. So if any kind of inquiry that you use to check your balance or something.
That's correct, yes.
It costs money. It cost us 75 pesos just to check our balance from the Wells Fargo.
Yes.
So I thought that was kind of wild.
Yes. So that was we were like, okay, this is kind of weird, because you went here in the United States just to check how much you have in the bank.
It doesn't cost anything.
Right. But, our bank in Philippines, it charged us
So we ended up, we were trying to put money into our account. And so now we went back to the branch because we wanted to put more money into this account.
Yes.
Now we have established it's real. We have established our cards work. And now we want to put more money in this bank account. Well, when we got to the branch, they said it was going to cost like $7 fee for Remitly. And so then I was like, no, I don't really want to do that.
It was more than that.
No, for the Remitly.
Yeah.
So then I said, well, what about a wire transfer? And they're like, oh, that's $25. And then I was like, okay, so we ended up leaving the branch doing nothing.
Nothing. So that was our third time, right?
And we're still trying to figure out, like, how do we get money into this Filipino account? And so then we started researching all the Remitlies, World Remit. And then we ended up going with Remitly.
Yeah, so World Remit, Union, bank transfer. We can also do transfer from our bank accounts. So the first thing that we tried was like, well, let's do online stuff.
Oh, we definitely
we did.
tried.
We tried online stuff, right?
We tried to go straight from Charles Schwab account to the Philippine bank.
Yes, and guess what? Charles Schwab, what they do is they send like a small amount first before they test your account
to link the
to link the account together. That it never showed up on our Filipino side, so it wasn't communicating back and forth.
We weren't able to do it.
Whatever it was, the amount was too small, but it's all right. Bank transfer from Charles Schwab to that account doesn't work at all.
Right.
But we figured out a better way to do it.
Yeah. So the better way is to use Remitly, because Remitly doesn't charge any fees. And we're not sponsored by them at all, by the way.
None.
But they don't charge fees from bank to bank transfer. So it works out perfectly. We were able to use Remitly as a third party to take money from Charles Schwab and put it into our Philippine National Bank.
Yes.
How many days did it take? 2?
Yeah, it took about 2 days.
Just took 2 days and the money's there.
Yep, exactly. And the thing is, Charles Schwab didn't charge us anything either.
No, yeah, it was totally free all the way around.
Yes.
So we'll keep doing it that way.
Yes. So, anything else? Did we miss anything else?
No, not as in regards to the bank stuff. I think we're good on the bank stuff. If you guys have more questions that you want us to answer in videos, let us know. We have been, we've been planning this move for over 2 years, but really we're in the thick of it and we're getting to the finish line. So we're almost moved. And if you've got questions, maybe we've experienced it and we can give you guys answers. So.
Yeah, definitely. So it's now, it's like a peace of mind. She has her own bank account. I have my own bank account. We don't have to walk around with cash.
Right.
We can just have our debit card. And the thing is, something that I wanted to do was to order a checking account, right? Because, and what I was told by the branch or the place in LA is that I had to wait 6 months after I had the savings account to open up a checking account. In Philippines, they don't have checking accounts. It's only for individuals who have businesses. But here in the United States, checking account is like, it's what you use to transact your checking,
pay everything
on a daily basis, So just keep that in mind. You can open it up.
I do see on the app that you can pay your bills on the app.
Right, but pay your bills in Philippines. Right?
In Philippines.
Yeah, so that's another thing too that is very convenient, is that when we get there, we're going to get a cell phone bill. Okay, we're probably going to get a car bill. We're probably going to get a water bill. We're probably going to get electric bill. And it's all going to be paid to this place on our mobile phone. So we can't wait to try that out. Yeah.
We'll keep you updated
we'll
on
keep you
how we
updated.
pay our bills later on in the future.
That's definitely
If we use
true.
our app or if we end up having to just go in.
Well, hopefully you enjoy our video. As usual, Carpe Diem.
Take care. Have a good day.
Bye.